Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Sunday, February 4, 2024, left 3:15 p.m. Eastern. You start to realize that we're all here. Everybody, there's so many people say, what am I here for? What am I doing here? We're here to rediscover who and what we are. Rediscover that we're God, pure consciousness, pure love, that we're omnipotently powerful, supreme beings that never die. Now, it's interesting. Some people will say, I know all that. Oh, good. That's good you know that. Do you practice it? That's what I suggest people look at with themselves. You can say that, is that ego mind or heart mind, and why would you need to say it out loud anyway to anybody? Remember, we're not in a race. We're all on the same path, even though it doesn't seem like for some that they're on the same path. You can't screw your life up no matter how you view it. That's all ego mind. None of us. It's just more experience that we are exposed to. We create the situation or whatever, and we manifest it into our lives, and then we experience it. And the most ordinary, typical days of this life often contain the most potent aspects of our enlightenment incubation process. And that's waking up. It's becoming aware. It goes right back to who and what we are. It's like every personal or business conversation, text message, email, Facebook post, YouTube video we experience are the exact fuel we specifically needed in that moment for us to realize our path to greater freedom. Every moment we are alone, listening to our inner voice, being quiet, or simply doing nothing is also the exact fuel needed. Every challenge, argument, confusion, fear, desire, and indecision is also essential fuel for that moment. In any direction we turn, we find the perfect enlightening fuel is already there, ready to be used. We are surrounded by perfection. It is only the mind that perceives something else. And this planet, believe it or not, is the most sacred spiritual birthing ground, which is specifically set up for us to realize our divine nature within its womb. And each day the sun shines its light on us. It's giving us warmth so we can relax, smile, and experience so many pleasures in this amazing body. We get to enjoy our body each day and how its five senses are always interacting with the outer world. Our physical body is the perfect cocoon for us to go inside, find our soul, sprout our spiritual wings. This universe is constantly giving life to us from the inside. Our heart beating, blood pumping, cells rejuvenating, and breath flowing, our life coursing through us. Life is loving every one of us from the inside and the outside. And these two worlds are merged together in a matrix of highly intelligent energy. And at the deepest level, life is this life, because that's what we're in right now, in the now, this life is the most deeply eternal loving teacher there is. It requires no payment from any of us and works every day for us absolutely free of charge. It is constantly offering us free life lessons which help our souls evolve in ways we never knew were possible. And this deep eternal love from life is so extremely generous. It's always gifting us free sunshine, free air, free ocean water. And if we're courageous and willing, all the free food we can find on the trees, plants, and catch in the oceans. We truly live in a divine ocean of loving, intelligent energy that supports every need we have. Even when we get upset, thrown off center, get angry, start to reject this life and push love away, life still continues to feed us, nurture us, breathe our body for us. Life still loves us no matter how we respond to it. The sun never stops shining on us, no matter how irreverent we are with it. We really don't have to do anything but show up and fully be in this moment of our life right here, right now. And this act of showing up is all about surrender and takes absolutely zero effort. One of the most enlightening meditations where you open yourself to the idea that everyone is enlightened except you. Imagine and pretend that there's this huge pro-Noahic conspiracy that this universe has to wake you up. Everybody is a vehicle for the divine, and every human is our greatest teacher and teaching. Listen to others as if God, him, herself, was speaking through them. The deeper you listen, the more you will hear the divine direction you're needing to go today. And the inner voice is already tuned in, and it will start showing you exactly how to find your way home. Imagine that we are all eagerly waiting for you to become enlightened. We have arrived and now are patient, yet very excited about becoming the great enlightening student that we were born to be. Now, our mission is to serve you, help you step on board the enlightenment train, because you are the very last to arrive. It's not that you are less than anyone, nor missing anything on the inside. This enlightenment exam is just an assignment for the ego, and it will ignite some powerful insights in every one of us, lighting up our spiritual path. The challenge to pretend that everyone is enlightened except you all day long is huge, I know. Yet take it on as an experiment for the next 3 days. Explore how you and your experience of life changes. Now, as you do this experiment, you'll notice how the quality of your listening changes with each day. One day, it may be somewhat superficial. And by day 3, you may become lost in the seeing, feeling, and touching the divine everywhere you go. You continue playing with it past day 3, if it's working for you, of course. Noticing what you feel you need to let go of, and how our perception of others and ourselves change. Become more and more aware of the immediate shift in consciousness that is created the moment you choose to step into this enlightenment incubator. Pretend that everyone is enlightened except you. Pretend, right? is a gigantic task for the ego to take on. So one small word of advice for you is this: be gentle with your teachers. Respect their teaching deeply by paying extra super close attention to what they are really saying underneath it all. Listen to what is your next step to finding freedom. Apply what is really going on in your life and see what it is that you most need to learn. Ask yourself, why do these types of people trigger me and why? Notice what they are pointing at inside you. Their words between your thoughts. Feel deeper into what's actually happening in each new moment if you want to truly be free. The initial experience of enlightenment is very similar to making popcorn. The hard little corn kernels, ego, require loads of heat, pressure, to be covered in oil, juicy emotions, and need a bit of stirring, uncertainty, before they surrender and pop open and expand completely into their light, fluffy fullness. I like to, it's kind of like a long definition or covering of love, and I like to go over this on occasion so we can focus on any part of it or all of it. And how many of us know what love is? I mean, yeah, we feel this, have certain experiences and emotional, but what is it? It's not a short answer. Love is infinitely patient and intentionally kind. It is the deep, sweet nectar found inside our very soul. Love is the softness that opens our hearts and quiets our minds. It accepts every aspect of who you are and who you are not. Love knows you, believes in you, and clearly sees exactly where you are in your life. Love has no limitations on what is and is not acceptable inside you. There are no boundaries around what love can and cannot approve of. It welcomes all our parts, inviting in the worst aspects of us with a warm, fuzzy heart and joyous, sparkling eye. Love is the light that shines the way in the darkest hour of our lives. It ignites the fire that guides our spiritual path, beckoning us to rise up and out from our darkest misery, to surrender, merge with great healing source of our being. Love is always fearless, always courageous, always present. It is never wrong, never misguided, and is never, ever afraid. It is the perfect state that cannot be improved upon. It is always accessible, always available, and always, always, always here, now. Love is always generous, completely abundant, and constantly giving to others as well to itself. It's like the sun, an inexhaustible outpouring of life energy that shares its bliss for the pure, exhilarating joy of it. It is the eternal, infinite, inexhaustible source of life. Love says we deserve even more love, especially when we don't feel worthy of it. It invites us to surrender all of our resistance and remember how perfect, sacred, and utterly lovable we truly are. Love feels all of your pain with you, holding your hand through your life's most panic moments and never letting go. Love honors our deepest wounds, helping us to see how they are our greatest teacher. It is absolute empathy, sympathy. It has the most profound compassion possible for you. Love breaks down the walls of what we think is not possible. It inspires us to step into our life mission and highest potentiality. Love is the flame that ignites the great bonfire within us, needed to burn through our limiting beliefs so we can manifest the most amazing life imaginable. Love is the most amazing experience that we can have in this entire universe. It is the most gentle, exquisite feeling that is conscious, sacred, sweet, and tender. It holds us so softly and with such a strength that it sends tingles all the way up our spine. Love is the cure for every physical dis-ease, every mental illness, and unbearable emotional wounding we may have. Love opens and relaxes every lesson, every tension, immediately liberating us from all anxiety and worry. Invoking love into our body, it heals us instantly, awakening every cell to remember absolute perfection. Love is a doorway to eternal life. Love is devotion itself, fully committed to expanding our hearts into our lives. Love is the deepening and softening of our breath that awakens the healing purpose of our soul. It is the permanent, authentic smile within us, forever giggling at our worries, knowing the deepest possible joy is the foundation of our existence. Love paves the path for the greatest orgasmic experience of our lives. It transforms ordinary sex into a sacred healing experience. Love unites lovers to merge and melt into the one divine source. It is the most personal, intimate, and deeply sensual experience we can have. Love is the spiritual energy that brings the highest form of life into existence. So we're on a constant journey in fact-finding in this life, in all lives that we incarnate into. We're all exploring, sooner or later, of the question to ourselves, who am I? It is one of the most powerful, life-transforming questions we can sit with. Who am I? It is infinitely deep, always changing, and takes us on an inner journey that will provide spiritual sustenance throughout our entire lives. The question is revealing and deceiving at the same time because it has no solid, real answer to it. Does it? We think we have found the answer one week, and then something new happens where we must admit there is yet another part of ourselves we didn't previously see. The path of self-inquiry is endless, mysterious, and is a method to find true meaning, healing, and freedom in this life. All of us are seeking some form of liberation in this world because we have created a prison around ourselves to break free from. The prison is all in the mind. Once we understand what the walls of our inner jail are made of, belief systems and thought structures, we can dig our way out. The seemingly solid bars around us are ephemeral, mental, emotional patterns that define who we are and what we are not. The good news is that these personal beliefs formed about ourselves are highly malleable, and will change when we are willing to see them for what they are. In other words, we're real flexible. Our beliefs are uncontested to the understanding that our beliefs are super powerful. They extend an imposed version of reality out into this world, forming an imaginary construct upon the blank canvas of this universe, molding the all-intelligent creative energy that surrounds us and is then reflected back to us. The reality we see each day shows up in the type of emotional sunglasses we are wearing. Our personal belief systems create a certain filter, giving life a specific texture, shade, continuity, the color, how we see everything in our world, as well as the end of the day experience of who we are. To unravel oneself is one of the most amazing, juicy explorations we can have in this life. It's a process of perceiving, accepting, honoring, releasing each belief we hold about ourselves to be true and not so true. If we stop and think about what beliefs we have about ourselves, we might start wondering, where did this belief about myself come from? How does it happen that we start defining who we are and who we are not? Why do we believe these thoughts about ourselves, even if they are not serving us and enslaving us? These are questions that I invite all of you to sit with and see where they lead you. Remember, it's a perpetual unwrapping of the infinite mystery. And the answers are not as important as to what the question awakens within our consciousness. To perpetually drop into the root of one's core source of consciousness is the final goal of this journey. To perpetually drop into the root of one's core source of consciousness is the final goal of this journey. It's not a one-time shot, yet a continual and eternal falling and rising into the ecstasy of our being. Our soul is always here, awaiting for us to accept its presence at the core of ourselves. Miraculous manifestations for you, simply surrendering to your core experience of yourself, or even 5 long, deep breaths can be enough to tap into it. This soul-touching experience allows all your best traits and love to shine forth upon the lives of everyone around you all day long. The normal self is the mind. The mind is with limitations, but pure consciousness, beyond limitation, it is reached by investigation into the I, Ramana Maharishi. Initially, intentionally discovering the source of our being is not always an easy task, as the ego is very strong. The prison walls of the mind are thick and doesn't believe we always have access to an infinite source of bliss all the time. The ego becomes very embarrassed, ashamed, feels stupid for missing this, and thus feels that there must be some massive mountain to climb and overcome to reach heaven here, now. Yet, the more we struggle and let the mind run the show, stronger and more real the ego and its fabricated system of beliefs becomes. We must choose to dig deeper inside to find the real path to freedom, which is super magical, amazingly powerful, and able to walk right through these prison walls. All the beliefs of the mind must be perceived all the way through if we are ever to find liberation from its imposing structure. We must choose to see and experience each specific belief for what it is, merge with it, dissolve into it, until there is nothing left of the belief or ourselves. When it comes down to it, the experience of finding freedom from the ego is actually quite simple. It's all about opening up to the most relaxed and non-efforting approach to this life you can imagine. We must surrender all efforting if we truly want to arrive. It is only through trusting in this deep, sweet let go that we find the timeless, spacious, vastly deep connection with the divine. When we finally give up our inner battle, we realize how futile all of our past efforts have been and what little power our belief system actually has over us. When we discover how deeply cherished and lovable we truly are, we stop being consumed with the outer and fall into the infinite mystery of the inner. This is the only place where absolute freedom can be discovered. You may find that how we judge, label, and define others says a lot more about ourselves than about them. Our labels darken our sunglasses, blocking the full spectrum of colors from the divine to shine through and touch our souls. When we start digging into our own belief system this week, see what's there. Just notice how attached you are to them. They are the most powerful and personal things in this universe. They form every aspect of reality that you believe is true. Approach them with this awareness. You can only find freedom from them along the way. See where your beliefs came from. Notice what age-specific beliefs formed for you and how they were handed down from other people around you. All of our thoughts about ourselves come from the outer world, in this lifetime or another. Who you are at the very core are pure innocence itself, free from all labels, beliefs entirely. You were simply covered up like a light bulb caked in mud by the beliefs of others imposed upon you. This realization in your innocent light nature is essential on the path to total freedom. The innocence is more personally intimate than any belief will ever be. And thus is why our entire lives are wrapped up in unraveling who we really are. The next step towards transcending one's belief system is understanding that they are not the enemy or something we need to get rid of. It is our resistance and need to control them, which is the real enemy. Life becomes a more rich and juicy experience because we are wearing so many pairs of sunglasses and having to release so many layers of mud about who we are and what this world is about. If and when we never formed a belief at all, we would only see the divine throughout the entire life journey. And there would be no exciting purpose or deeper mission for coming to visit the earth. Our beliefs gives us something to grind upon and push against, giving us direction and motivation, desire and sense of separateness from the source. This is essential so that one day we can dissolve through them, feel a sense of freedom, return home. It is a fantastical journey, an outrageously creative invention of a use of time, mind, and the energy of a soul. Now, it's interesting, when you write down all your major core beliefs about yourself, others in your life, and this world. This is a step is so that we clarify them and see what they actually are. Once we can see them, we can embrace them, so they're not just floating around the neuronal soup in the synapses of our brains. Realize that you created these beliefs. Got to realize that. You know? Take responsibility for each one. Seeing perhaps who you stole it from or who shoved it down your brain and why you eventually decided to adopt it. The key to this step is taking ownership without any senses of judgment of it being right or wrong. It is simply a belief, a thought structure that was formed about reality. Have an experience of believing in the belief. How many times do you actually believe in the belief? And then explore what it feels like to let it go. This release is the first step towards complete and total liberation, and ultimately requires no action at all. It simply happens on its own accord when we drop into the infinite source of our awareness, pure consciousness itself. And when we remain superconscious and aware while embracing this old precious belief experience, a merging happens that liberates us from this illusionary prison forever. Do you feel that you're in a prison? You know, we're not. You know, it's not like jail cell, but you get the message. Do you feel like you're in a prison? And how often do you feel this way? If you have trouble identifying your core beliefs, remember that they are highly emotional and deeper than having subtle preferences about this life. They are statements that say that this is the way life is, and it cannot be any other way. A preference tends to bend, while a belief will crack our very foundation if shaken. If all we had were preferences about ourselves in this life, it would be a much easier and more enjoyable ride. Right? Yet, ego wants safety, security, and thus creates a firm, rigid structure about who we are and who we are not. These ideas create difficulty and an extra feeling of challenge in our relationships with work, money, intimate relationships, lifestyle, sex, physique, health and food, etc. The list goes on forever. Wherever you are challenged in life, this life, you have a rigid belief holding you down. Where did that rigid belief come from? Well, most likely, other people's thoughts. Now, we've also, used to look at the fact that the ideas we have about ourselves have been there a very, very, very long time and may not budge very easily if you try to uproot them. This is good news, bad news. The trick here is to take ownership of the belief that is creating the problem, declare full responsibility for it, and then completely release all identification with it. The greater the freedom we experience, the deeper the challenge must be. And when we see that we created every aspect of our identity and are no longer a victim on any level, we become empowered to become undefinable beings. A soul who is multidimensional, constantly playing in the creativity of reality, however we wish it to be. Approach this exploration of unraveling yourself in the most gentle, patient, and unconventional way. Do not try to fix anything you find. Now, if you think something is broken, you're simply not seeing the gift or strength it's creating deeper within you. The tendency is for the mind to replace every negative self-esteem with a positive self-esteem, as that would be an unending, tiresome, slippery hill to climb. Because how the ego would like to be will never, ever be good enough. Ever. We're choosing to embrace the understanding that we all are super powerful, manifesting beings who just happen to have a bit of amnesia. We all have it. We all have amnesia on this planet. Some to vary degree, others more so. It's just variety. But see, the amnesia is there to do what? For us to rediscover. And you'll notice how you just kind of go, blip, 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 blip. And each step along the way is like a whole room that you're like a kid in a candy store. You're just sitting everywhere, reading everything, and looking at everything you can, watching everything you can. We have forgotten completely, absolutely, how amazing, how incredible, how brilliant, special, and extremely powerful we truly are. We forgot. It's not a bad thing. We all have this kind of like, droplets of amnesia. Now, there is this, and I believe that a lot of us understand, there is this mass hypnosis going on all around us, where all of our friends and family have also forgotten their super manifesting powers and magnetic abilities. The hypnosis is so deep, they may not even know they are pretending to be normal like everyone else just to fit in with the rest of humanity. To step out and dehypnotize oneself from this comfortable sheep-like mentality and step into our divine greatness, we must make a radical shift, which may feel like risking everything we have and who everyone thinks we are. Radical transformation requires radical risk. Excuse me. If you want to play small, think small, take small risks, you will tend to manifest small results. If you want to live large, be financially abundant and free, you must accept that there are no boundaries to what you can manifest. 0 boundaries. Once you're ready to take this big risk, write down a commitment to yourself that you're going to become permanently financially free in the next 5 to 10 years, or sooner. It's up to you. Write down the date that what amazing, creative, miraculous thing happened during this time, and you will feel the switch turn on. So we all know we have amnesia, right? We all have amnesia, and we are all rediscovering about who and what we are. What an exciting journey. It's absolutely, it's mesmerizing. How could we ever get bored on that path, rediscovering that we are gods in these bodies? Pure conscious, pure love, light, energy, cosmic force, on and on. So in a quiet time of this meditation, ask yourself the question, why am I here? I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And take an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. This present moment is all any of us have. Don't waste time reliving your past or worrying about what may happen tomorrow. Simply relax into the beauty of this divine moment in your life and know that only this moment is real. Sure to enjoy whatever illusions pop up along the way. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, following morning. And we will return here Monday, February 5, 2024, around 3:15 p.m. Eastern, continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest, eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on within you or outside of you.